So next up, we can start talking about Ben Askren. We can start talking about that, and that is a perfect way for us to actually segue into the UFC 235 card coming up on Saturday, March the 2nd, in a couple weekends. That's obviously headlined by Jon Jones and Anthony Smith.
Right.
So us being exactly an hour into the podcast, let's spend another few minutes previewing this, and then we can call it afterwards. So where do you want to start? Do you want to start with Jones Smith?
Yeah, why not?
Do you want to talk about Woodley Usman? Do you want to talk about Lawler Askren?
I think let's start.
Zabit. Oh, this is sick. This card is.
This
sick.
guy's gonna be good. Yeah.
Mickey Gall,
James
Diego
Simpson.
Sanchez.
Oh shit.
Oh man, this is gonna be such a sick card.
Diego Sanchez.
Garbrandt versus Mark
God.
Munoz.
Okay.
Dude, this is a serious
guy.
Pedro Munoz, I should say. Mark Munoz has been out for a while.
Right.
That's crazy. Okay, this is a lot. So where do you want to start?
Well, let's start with the main fight. Why not?
Let's do it.
All of them are interesting. So Jon Jones and Anthony Smith.
So yeah, the tail of the tape pretty much is we got. So both of them are actually, in height. It's very, very interesting. It's listed as the same height.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But Anthony Smith is a solid inch and a half shorter. I saw them when they were squaring off.
All right.
But that's a guy who's similar in size. Reach advantage.
Yeah, very similar in size. Yes.
Reach advantage, 8-inch reach advantage for Jon Jones. So he still has that zoning
Fair enough.
ability. Leg reach, similar.
Yeah.
That is the big thing right there. I think in terms of the legs, like how long their legs are, Jon Jones usually has a huge advantage because that contributes a lot to his height. But Anthony Smith actually has very long legs himself.
Yeah.
These guys are violent, man. Anthony Smith is a legend killer. The guys the guys who he's beaten in his fights, it's messed up, man. His fight history, it's littered with a bunch of dudes where he's rattled up victories against the likes of Rashad Evans, Mauricio Shogun Rua, Volkan Ozdemir, who had just fought for the title at that point. And now he's fighting. Now he's going to be slated to fight Jon Jones.
Yeah.
All of this after he had lost to Thiago Santos, who's actually fighting in Prague this coming Saturday as well against Blaszczykowski. So that should be very interesting to see how Thiago Santos responds, because that fight was wild.
Yeah. Wait, there was Anthony. No, what was Anthony Smith's last fight?
Anthony
Volkan Ozdemir?
Anthony Smith's last fight chronologically was Volkan Ozdemir.
Yeah.
He fought 4 times in 2018.
Okay.
He fought in February against Thiago Santos.
Yes.
And lost. And then he fought Rashad Evans at UFC 225, and he won round 1 KO. Then another round 1 KO performance of the night against Shogun, and then a round 3 submission over Ozdemir for performance of the night bonus as well. So
I like those, especially the Shogun and Ozdemir wins are pretty legit in my mind.
he basically made Rashad retire and Mauricio Shogun Rua retire as well. And Volkan Ozdemir is now coming off of his his second loss after going for the title against DC. Right. He lost against Anthony Smith, and he's slated to fight Dominic Reyes next. And Dominic Reyes is another up-and-comer in that light heavyweight division. Right. Hungary, he's coming off of a few wins now, and Ozdemir is falling rapidly. He does not want to lose a third fight in a row, but that's beside the point. Yeah. Anthony Smith is coming in hot after he started the year off depressed. He was on Ariel Helwani and talking about immediately after his last win. This was in early November. He was on Ariel Helwani, and he was talking about how he was depressed after that loss to Thiago Santos. He contemplated if he wanted to keep fighting, all this kind of stuff, and something in him just said, just give it everything you've got for this next one against Rashad and see what happens. He won, and it kind of sparked a 3-fight win streak now. And here he is against Jon Jones fighting for the title. And this is a guy whose record is 31-13. But if you look at, he's the classic type of guy where he was like middling, like he'd be winning 60% of his fights. Right. He'd lose, win, lose, win, win, lose, win, lose, win, lose, win, 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 lose, win, that kind of thing, After that, if you look at what's been happening recently, he's won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of his last 9 fights.
Okay.
So he's coming in where he kind of turned the corner and started and stopped getting decisions, and started getting round 2 knockout, round 3 knockout, round 3 knockout, round 1 knockout, round 1 knockout.
Wow, oh yeah, they're all freaking knockouts.
Yeah, and then the one submission against Ozdemir after rocking him.
Wow.
So Anthony Smith is a violent fighter, Lionheart, and he's always getting counted out because no matter what fight he goes into, he's the underdog.
Yeah.
Rashad Evans, he was the betting underdog.
Right.
Shogun, he was the betting underdog.
Because he fights these big names.
Ozdemir, he was the betting underdog. And he's just been counted out his whole life. So he's used to this position. And
I think he probably feels comfortable being in that position. It's also, that position is not a bad position to be in because the pressure's not really on you. You know? And from what I saw his last couple of fights, really, he looked amazing. Like you said, he's a killer. He's just coming in there, smashing people. So from my perspective, I was a little surprised when I heard that John Jones accepted and took that fight, because I'm like, oh, John is just coming back and like he's making this big splash, and he can go back to fighting the usual suspects like DC and so forth, or maybe try a Brock Lesnar fight and all that stuff. And then I'm like, oh,
we're surprised,
Anthony Smith. I'm like, yeah, because it's like he's risking a lot by fighting Anthony Smith. He's a legit person.
And John Jones said that himself. He's like, this is a legit contender. This guy's
absolutely.
I'm not looking past him at all.
No joke. That's the thing. Because if, let's say, they gave him someone and you felt a little bit like, oh, this is just like a tune-up fight, like giving John Jones a little more time to get back into it before he goes back to
like
DC
a Jan Blachowicz who's fighting Thiago Santos for what can ostensibly be called, because they're fighting this Saturday in Prague, that you can call that the next #1 contender spot.
Sure,
because it's Blachowicz is ranked #4, and like I said, Dominic Reyes is ranked #6. So these two are fighting, because think about it. If DC's there, if DC's there and he's not really fighting in that division, he just beat Alexander Gustafsson. Yeah. He's set to fight Anthony Smith. The next logical thing would be Jan Blachowicz, who's already fighting this weekend, who's trying to keep his spot, essentially.
Exactly.
So, and it's him and Dominic Reyes.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? Give Volkan Ozdemir a chance out of nowhere? Okay, so the light heavyweight getting kind of clouded at the top.
That's true.
The next logical couple fights for John Jones was never going to be name brands.
Right.
But yeah, I agree with you, though. I mean, this is a dangerous. If there's a guy it's the classic one of those where, because Anthony Smith has always been counted out, he is a popular underdog.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everyone's going to try to be that guy with the hot take saying, oh, he has a chance. I mean, we all know he has a chance, And
because of the way he finishes fights with knockouts.
It's vicious. And
it's not just edging fights out.
It's violent. When he fights, it's an absolute like just an onset of violence. So that's always going to be something Anthony Smith possesses, and his highlight reel shows it all. His 2018 was a very strong one at that, and we're just gonna throw some of these highlights and just kind of talk as we see it. You can see like this guy's always kind of been that violent guy with the nice Muay Thai. He uses all 8 of his extremities to throw.
Dude, how much do you think he weighs here? Like in that first fight we saw,
he looked like he was fully like a middleweight.
Like he definitely used to weigh a lot less.
Welterweight
before.
Even. It did not look very heavy.
Yeah, so he's gained a lot of weight.
Here he looks similar. So yeah,
he looks similar here. Yeah,
we're seeing here in Bellator when he was fighting there, taking out a lot of the talent here. He definitely looks like he's a welterweight here.
Yeah. And then he definitely gained some muscle after that.
Very interesting watching him, throw some of these combinations. He's very violent. He doesn't stop. He's relentless. It's just oh my goodness. He's just strong, accurate, got amazing Muay Thai. I'm telling you, man. He uses all 8 of his extremities very well to strike. You can't crash on John Jones the same way he's been crashing on some of these guys in this highlight reel.
I feel like some people really sleep on Anthony Smith's actual ability to strike.
His jiu-jitsu's good too.
Is it?
He just doesn't need to use it.
Okay.
He's just one of those guys with jiu-jitsu
Never
where
seen him
if he drops
right.
you, he can submit you like he did to Ozdemir. Right. That's what he did to Ozdemir.
Yeah.
But yeah, his striking is on that next level. He really those leg kicks, those knees. He has a lot of that Muay Thai going on here. He's very, very violent. Very violent. Like, he's just very powerful in everything he does. The suplexes, the elbows, like the knees. He is violent, man. That was against Hector Lombard. We see him dropping Mutapcic here.
Do you think he's going to come a little more cautious in a fight with John?
I think he's got to come out there and fight his own fight.
But do you think he might be like, oh, this is my opportunity. I should be really careful.
Be timid because of it?
Yeah.
There's always the chance. I just think he strikes me as the kind of guy where I'm going to go out on my sword. I'm going to fight my fight. I'm not going to come out here because we've seen the guys get timid around John Jones, and we've seen what happens. I'd rather get knocked out by John Jones in the first 2 rounds doing my fight and knowing that I was putting myself in my best confidence in being able to be like, it's either me or him. And I think I have the skill to bob and weave and make this happen, because there is a certain range against John Jones where he can't throw punches, where most people would be able to throw hooks because his arms are so long. He compromises by throwing elbows. He throws elbows like they're jabs because his arms are so damn long. But he clearly has good Muay Thai, which is something that we haven't necessarily seen against a guy who's the same size as John Jones. Yeah. We've seen good Muay Thai. We've seen guys the same size, but the stylistic and the size is something that we haven't seen. Yeah. Like Alexander Gustafsson is a boxer primarily. There's no legs, there's no knees, there's no vicious Muay Thai coming down. Absolutely. You're not getting some powerful guy who's going to be able to use some jiu-jitsu to get some sweeps and then get into a dominant position. No. I mean, you don't have a guy like that that's fought him, same size. Now, you've seen Muay Thai guys, say like a Shogun, who's fought both of these individuals. Yes. He fought when Shogun fought John Jones. Not only was he over the hill, but those Muay Thai wasn't going to work because you're just too small compared to him extremity wise. So we have a guy who matches up size wise and in terms of versatility and the terms of what he can throw. Yeah, he's approaching that same level because limited versatility in terms of striking for Alexander Gustafsson. Yes, I think the repertoire is just as vast with Anthony Smith, and he's the kind of guy who goes in knowing what he wants to accomplish, but he'll do anything it takes to get there. So if out of nowhere he's like, I have a good opportunity to take him down here, who knows if he'll take him down? Is John Jones some guy you're like, oh my God, he's on his back. John Jones is on his back. I'm in trouble. Right. Not necessarily. No. He'll throw some vicious elbows from the bottom. We've seen that. Yeah. But again, are you able to go through that storm, that barrage of these long limbs coming at you from every angle? That's what really trips people out, because then John Jones has a good takedown defense. This is going to be the stand-up will determine how this fight plays out. I totally John agree. Jones can take anybody down if he needs to. Yeah. These guys just both of them don't usually need that aspect of their game. Right. I think this fight might be won or lost in that aspect of that game. I think someone's gonna get rocked, take the other person down, recover, and then it's going to be a ground battle at some point. And that's going to turn into a little bit of a thing where, it might be later on in the fight. Someone might get rocked and they might be grappling or something, and that might determine a lot. It might be a momentum shifter. Not necessarily that someone's going to finish it there, but it might be a momentum shifter. Now, John Jones knows that if he takes him down, it might be a little bit more dangerous than what he thought. Or Anthony Smith says, if I get rocked again, I can't take him down because I saw how that exchange went. So it's very, very interesting how I think the ground might determine a lot in terms of who has the most confidence in their stand-up.
Okay, I'm surprised because I don't know. I didn't really imagine it going to the ground, but you're making a valid point. It could very well go to the ground. And they're both very good.
They're both top dominant, and they're both on the bottom. I would say get off your back immediately. Yeah. Again, if you have Anthony Smith over top of you or John Jones, it ain't good. Absolutely. So that's one of those things where if you try to survive now, what I'm saying is if it goes to the ground even briefly, even for 30 seconds, if you're getting top down dominated to the bell and you survive the round, that's going to change the disposition of how you think about throwing kicks, throwing knees, throwing different parts of your Muay Thai repertoire. So I think that wrestling will play a smart especially strategically for Jon Jones, who can take him down.
I agree. Look, I think that this fight low-key, because a little bit low-key, just because of Anthony Smith, I think. Maybe just is going to go a little bit under the radar. Although, again, this card is absolutely stacked. So, it should do well. But, you don't know. We're still Anthony Smith's not a huge name. Might not do that great in terms of pay-per-views. But I feel like this fight might low-key be one of the best Jon Jones fights we've seen in a while. In terms of most competitive.
This will be the best. It will be the best. This will be better
and
than
we might see a bloodbath where they're exchanging. And, I mean, that's just depending on whether Anthony Smith comes in and does his thing, applies his game that he has applied so far. If he comes in timid and like waits it out, tries to counter and this and that, then maybe we could be in for a boring fight. But I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, honestly, I think that regardless of how this fight goes down, whatever the outcome is, if Jon Jones were to require a rematch and Anthony Smith were to somehow upset him, Jon Jones is gonna come and beat the shit out of him next time.
Yeah.
Regardless of how this goes down, Anthony Smith, you might win the championship now, but it's Jon Jones for the taking when he comes back and fights you a second time.
I totally
regardless
agree.
of what happens. You might surprise him the first time, but nothing's going to happen in that sense of it. But again, this is going to be an amazing fight. And if it sets up a trilogy, please. I'm all because this light heavyweight division is starving for some talent at the top. The fact that Jan Blachowicz is number 4, I'm not okay. Look, no disrespect to the man, but back in the day, in the golden era, the light heavyweight division, you had a hard time not naming 8 guys off the top of your head: Stephan Bonner, Forrest Griffin, Chuck Liddell, Lyoto Machida, Rashad Evans, Shogun Hua. Like
and they're all legends of the game. They stayed. Their
Randy
names
Couture.
Yeah.
These guys. I just named 7 dudes
out of those 5. How many do you think people are going to remember in
Jon Jones,
15 years?
DC. If you're European, then Gustafsson. If not, then probably not. Exactly. Let's be real here. Anthony Smith is the most forgettable name out there. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then Volkan Ozdemir, nope, unless you're from his country. Jan Blachowicz, nope, unless you're from his country.
Correct.
There's not really much depth of talent here. But you go and look at the same thing. You do the same thing with, for example, the lightweight or the welterweight right now. Then you're saying the same thing. You're saying the same thing in the other direction. Like, look at the lightweight. You got Khabib. You got Tony. You got Conor. You got Dustin Poirier, who's no one to be slept on.
Yeah, man.
You got Ali Quinta, who's really proven himself to be
someone. Came in, and proved himself. Yeah, absolutely.
Kevin Lee even is not a slouch. He's only lost 4 times.
Yeah.
Kevin Lee strikes you the type of dude who might have lost 7 times, lost 8. No, he's 16-4. Like, he loses in bunches. Like, he wins like 6 fights and he'll lose 2 in a row.
Right.
He'll win. I remember we looked at this last time. So. That, like, and again, the welterweight: Tyron Woodley, Colby Covington, Kamaru Usman, Darren Till, Stephen Thompson, Rafael Dos Anjos, Ben Askren. It's crazy what's going on, man. So when you look at these divisions and you see that kind of production coming up, it makes you excited and it makes you say, okay, this is a really deep crop of guys in that particular setting. But with that being said, you go look at the light heavyweight and you're kind of starving, looking for something. You're scraping the bottom of the barrel.
And really, I feel like the light heavyweight should be one of the hottest divisions. In theory, it should be one of the, like, most interesting, because those are the big guys, but they're not the biggest guys. So they should be also, very mobile and versatile and have different styles and not just be like the heavyweights, like big and strong. And so it has the potential to see the best athletes at the light heavyweight division. Unfortunately, you're very right. It's starving right now.
And speaking of the divisions that we were talking about that weren't starving, welterweight is one of them, and that's it is rife with richness right now. There's so much talent there, and Tyron Woodley is defending his welterweight belt against Kamaru, the Nigerian Nightmare Usman.
And I like the whole kind of beef they got going between Woodley and Usman and Askren, like that threesome they got going on there.
A triangle there, and Colby Covington kind of shifting his sights onto maybe Mike Perry to try to boost his name and then come back into this picture.
I want to see Mike Perry knock him the hell out.
I know, right?
I would love that.
For Tyron versus Kamaru, who you got? I'm curious.
Oh man, that's a tough fight. That's a really, really, really tough fight. Stylistically, they match up identically. Like They're both strong. They're both explosive. They're both wrestlers. They both got sufficient striking and power. But I don't know, man. I still got Woodley. Because I feel like
I think the wrestling cancels out.
I think so.
Kamaru Usman is going to be striking with Tyron.
Correct.
He's going to feel Tyron's power.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to try to throw his own power. Tyron's going to get out of the way. He's going to get out of the way of the punches, so Kamaru's going to get tired. Kamaru's a natural wrestler, so when you get tired, you go back to your normal thing.
Yeah.
He can't take Tyron down, and now he's stuck standing with Tyron Woodley, who's just stalking him.
Yeah.
It could get boring for a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Could get boring for a little bit, but Kamaru's going to realize he can't take him down, and striking is scary against Tyron Woodley. All you have is one punch, and that's all it takes.
Yeah, man.
Against a striker like Stephen Thompson,
yeah,
and all you have is one punch, and yet you beat him twice. The only one to beat him,
and had him knocked down a couple times.
The only one.
Yeah.
I don't know who's beating Tyron Woodley. I don't think.
And also, one thing is Usman doesn't have the experience that Woodley has in terms of the names that he's fought. I mean, Usman definitely has experience, but not on the level that Woodley has. He has never fought someone like Stephen Thompson in the stand-up department, you know? So that's going to make a big difference. I think Tyron has actually a lot of intelligence when it comes to the ring, like that in-game intelligence. I think he's next level. Tyron Woodley knows so well how to strategize a fight. He proved that against Wonder Boy. And I think that, like you said, the wrestling is going to cancel each other out. And then he's going to be stuck with, Usman's going to be stuck with Tyron standing up. And Tyron's got more power, more experience, and possibly even more technical ability in the stand-up department. So there you go.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you watch Stephen Thompson and him fight those 2 times. Then he beat up on Damian Maia for 5
There
straight
you go,
rounds.
a grappler,
5
the best
straight
grappler.
rounds. And Maia couldn't
take him once.
Anything.
Are Tyron Woodley's fights a little boring? Maybe. But why? Because he's like super smart in canceling his opponents out.
Let's put it this way. Takedowns defended for Tyron Woodley is 94.83%.
Try to take him down.
94.83%. How many? Okay, so takedown average. Let's look at that. 1.34 takedowns per fight for Woodley attempted, and 4.47 attempted for Kamaru Usman per on average. So if he's taking dudes down 4 times, 5 times a matchup, and he's grinding dudes down on the ground, and that's how he's getting to 13-1. Because look at the decisions, 46%.
Right.
KOs, 46%, but they're not straight up KOs. They're only TKOs. Those are dudes that can't handle the fact that he's over top of them, out striking them from the ground and pound perspective. You're not going to ground and pound Tyron Woodley. So what the are you going to do? What are you actually going to do to Tyron Woodley? Look, at the end of the day, you might surprise us, so I'll catch him and clip him, but that's the only way you're doing it. I don't see you having the crisp enough striking to be able to do what you think you're able to do against Tyron. You've never fought a dude like him. And it's always I've always find it ironic when someone like a Kamaru Usman is sitting there and being like, you know what? You haven't fought a guy like me. It's like, nah, bro. Like, you haven't fought a guy like him. He's the champion for a reason. Yeah. And the dudes who get too full of themselves before these type of fights, it's not good.
No.
Even if you win the chip, it's not good because you came in with a bad mentality. So now you think you have to replicate that in order to make success happen. You're gonna get in your own way, bro.
Absolutely.
Kamaru Usman doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who has the mental edge to beat a Tyron Woodley in the sense that, because this is going to come down, this isn't about physicals. They're both physical freaks. This has nothing to do with physicals, nothing to do with the striking, nothing to do with the wrestling. This is all mental.
Yeah,
this is all mental.
And wrestling-wise and even striking-wise, they're very similar.
Because Tyron hasn't fought somebody like that, and that's true. Physically, Tyron Woodley hasn't fought a guy who can wrestle as well as him, who's just as strong, just as explosive, just as powerful. But when you look at something like what Tyron Woodley can bring in terms of the full package, and a lot of that comes from, he's not an arrogant champion. He's a confident champion.
Really.
He's a confident champion.
Yeah.
He's cocky at times, but he's cocky, but it's founded in his cockiness is grounded, I should say, in knowing he's the best.
Yeah.
when you know you're the best and you're chasing, like what LeBron says, I'm chasing ghosts. That means there's nobody alive that I'm trying to battle out to be the best over. It's the guys who are done already, their legacies, and me trying to beat out anybody future legacy and stuff. Like Tyron Woodley's doing that. He's in that George St. Pierre category. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you think. If you don't like it, blah, blah, blah. It might not be everyone's favorite, which I don't understand, first of all. I don't really understand why he might not be people's. I'm not saying he should be your favorite fighter, and it might not be the most exciting. But this guy's a good champion. He fights. He shows up. He does his job, and he puts in work against whoever it is that they sign him up to beat up on. So it is what it is, man. I think it's gonna be an interesting fight. I don't know. This is gonna be.
I think the problem with Woodley to make that, to leave that mark in MMA history. The problem is his current relationship with the fans. I guess he's not the fan favorite because of his strategic approach to fights. Let's call it that. And other than that, man, other than that, I think he does deserve his credit, and I hope. Actually, I am rooting for him because I want him to actually prove everybody how good he is, and I want his name to stay out there because he's a unique fighter in many ways. His style is not overly complicated; it's simple, but I don't think we've seen that level of MMA intelligence and physical ability since maybe someone like GSP. Honestly, that's why I've always said there's one fight that I would, but then again, it might be a really boring fight, GSP and Woodley.
No, that would be amazing.
Amazing in terms of I want to see who actually wins that
because there's so much. They're both compact strikers,
smart,
strong,
strategic, strong,
cardio,
wrestling,
power, athleticism.
Absolutely,
it's just through the roof. It's
the like jab versus the overhand
Superman,
right.
Yeah, that's good. Superman punch versus that. Like, there's a lot of different signature moves these guys got.
So it sounds like an amazing matchup. Could it turn into something boring? Possibly.
I honestly, it depends on your definition of boring. If you think guys grappling chain wrestling, if you think chain wrestling is boring, and you're into the optics and the spectacle, you're not. That might not be entertaining for you. Yeah. Like, for example, put it this way: is this one of your things for performance of the night or bonus of the night or fight of the night award? No, probably not.
No,
probably not. You're gonna be looking at Jones and Smith and. Maybe Lawler Askren. That's my favorite for probably performance of the night. Someone's going to go off. It could be Garbrandt versus Pedro Munoz. You don't know.
I think so. That fight.
Zabit's fighting Jeremy Stevens. Yeah. There is a lot that we have to go through here. So let's quickly double back.
Let's run through them.
Let's quickly double back and give our predictions, and we'll go through each one of these. So John Jones versus Smith. I got Jones winning in the 4th round via TKO.
I got Jones 2nd round TKO.
Woodley versus Usman. What you got?
I got Woodley decision, bro. Sorry.
No, I got you. I've got Tyron Woodley via decision as well. I'm there with you.
Yeah.
So Lawler versus Askren. We can talk about it a little bit if you want. For a couple minutes. What do you think?
Well, real quick. Honestly, I don't know how Askren is gonna match up. With someone like
I gotta say also, like, Ben Askren's not somebody who I know too well. Right. I've seen a few fights on One Championship on YouTube and whatever, but taking that and translating that over to the UFC,
how does he translate?
Getting thrown into the deep waters against someone like a Robbie Lawler, like, dude, that's the worst matchup Ben Askren could get, and he knows it. He's fully acknowledged it. He's like, Dana White's put me up against the worst matchup I possibly could have, and I'm cool with it. So, I mean, I don't like the fact that he almost sounded like he's reserved himself to be like, if I lose, or I win, if I win. Like, I don't like that. But Robbie Lawler's no joke. Ben Askren's going to get swarmed, and he's going to have to take him down and stay on top of him.
And if he can actually do that, obviously.
And I think I'm going to have to give this to, 3 rounds? I'm going to have to give this to... Wow. I'm going to go Robbie Lawler decision.
Okay. Well, it's kind of like I said, a big.
They don't have I can't do it.
They don't even have a picture for Askren on the website.
I know, right? I think. Okay, let's talk about the fight. Let's see if we can come to a consensus.
Yeah.
Okay. Quickly. So Ben Askren, wrestler, grappler, hold on top of you, beast wrestler. I mean, even Tyron Woodley said this guy's a beast wrestler. You got Robbie Lawler
around him, yeah.
Then you got Robbie Lawler, who's a beast to stand up.
So all I know is
71% knockout.
Yeah. So all I know is Askren is not gonna want to stand up with Lawler for sure. Like from the fights, as little as I've seen from Askren, what I've seen is he's just not a striker. He always tries to avoid the punches. He looks a little awkward, in fact, punching in my mind.
His striking's that bad. Kind of looking like a Yaya kind of guy.
A little bit, man. I don't like again.
Just ground
I want to see him again to form my opinion completely. It's not. I don't have a formed opinion yet, but I've only heard the hype. I've seen a couple fights here and there. I don't know. I can't. I just can't. I want to kind of believe the hype and be like, oh, this is this new grappler coming in, beastly wrestler coming into the UFC. Perhaps comes in, smashes everybody wrestling style, ends up facing Khabib one day, and you see the biggest gorillas facing each other, you know? Okay, nice narrative, maybe. It could be nice if that happened. But I got Lawler. I cannot see Askren win.
No.
I think Lawler is not gonna be easy to take down.
I'm gonna change my thing to Robbie Lawler second round TKO.
I would say.
I think Askren gets clipped, isn't the same. Starts going for bad takedowns.
Yeah,
just gets clipped again. Ground and pound TKO.
I agree. I think Askren tries his takedowns obviously from the start. I think he has a much harder time taking Lawler down than he expected. I think that even if he does get one or two takedowns, Lawler comes back to his feet right away against the cage or something, and ends up getting a little tired, and perhaps second, third round, Lawler would finish that TKO.
Let's go to the next one, which will be Cody Garbrandt against Pedro Munoz. It's funny that they have Cody Garbrandt stay here with the belt.
I know, updated,
that's funny. So what do you think about this matchup? We obviously have a guy who seems like he is a top-heavy pressure, takedown, and submission kind of guy, and Pedro Munoz seems like he's a grappler, and he's facing Cody Garbrandt, who we all know is a stand-up specialist. Another striker versus grappler matchup. What do you think here?
I think Pedro Munoz, again, I'm not super versed in his career, but like I've seen a couple of his fights. He looks like a real beast for sure. He looks like he can take a punch. He looks like very strong for the division. Yeah, I like his chances, but I think Cody has so much on the line at this point that this fight is really kind of like make or break for Cody. Like this fight is gonna determine whether Cody gets back into the whole title contention conversation, or if he starts to dwindle away and slowly make his way to the.
If he was a flash in the pan type of thing.
Yes,
I think Cody Garbrandt's gonna take this. My super stat supporting that would be the fact that Pedro Munoz has a 21.8% takedown accuracy, and Cody Garbrandt has 100% takedowns defended, which means he's never been taken down in the UFC. So if a guy who has 50% of his wins coming from submission can't take you down, I don't know how that's going to work out. And in terms of striking,
we would assume that the striking is a lot better, right? Yes, in Cody's favor.
Absorbed per minute, we got 5.4 strikes absorbed per minute for Pedro and 3.43 for Cody Garbrandt. And the defense for the striking is at 58.62%, which means just over 40% of the strikes are going through and landing on Pedro. So if Cody Garbrandt comes in there with crisp boxing, it could be a long night for Pedro, who's going to try to take him down against a guy who's never been taken down.
Okay, so what's your final prediction?
I'm going to have to go with Cody Garbrandt wins in the first round.
Okay, actually, that's funny because I was thinking first round, but then I was like, I'm not even going to say first round. I would say second, but I got Cody with TKO. I would say second round.
And last one we're going to talk about here for UFC 235, March 2nd. We got Jeremy Lil Heathen Stevens against Zabit Magomed Sharipov. What do you got?
I am excited for this fight, actually.
Zabit, bro. Move to the Zabit of his own drum, bro.
Yes. Well said, man. Yeah,
I like it.
I love the guy. Last fight, he got in like this weird knee bar. I think that's
Yep.
how he won.
It was like a hamstring.
Yeah. Hey, funny enough, this knee bar, I think who else got it?
The same night.
Same night. What's his face? British guy. British guy?
Yeah, I'm completely blanking on who it was.
With the chains. What the hell was his name?
The British guy?
Yeah,
I don't know.
With the kind of like...
No idea. But yeah, that was a crazy submission.
I forget his name too. Anyways, yeah. So crazy submission. I think he's like so versatile. Like Zabit's got so many different ways he can finish someone.
What I like so much about him in this division is how tall and how long he is.
That too, obviously.
He has a huge advantage in terms of height and reach. I mean, this guy's a legit 6 foot. That's 6'3". He's 6'3".
Damn.
That's
yeah.
That's
crazy. You can tell he's towering over everybody.
In that lightweight division and the featherweight division, 6'3".
Yeah. Jamie Stevens is what, 5'10" maybe?
He's 5'9".
No, 5'9". Yeah.
That's crazy, man. So, I mean, yeah. With that being said, it's gonna be pretty. I mean, no. Sorry, Zabit's 6'1". He's not 6'3".
Oh, okay.
But yeah, still, that's crazy.
Yeah, no, you can tell he's a lot taller. He's got reach on people.
Tallest guy in the division.
He's got kicks, so he's not just he's got the reach both in his legs and arms.
And he's not bad at grappling. His takedown average is 7 per fight.
And he's got awkward takedowns, like weird, like side steps.
It's his inside and his outside trips.
Yeah.
He's really good at those. He's got a really nice, that classic sweep that people would practice when they're younger. Like, you grab the guy at the top, kind of like Greco-Roman overhook, overhand, underhook, kind of clasp the hands, sweep the right leg around. Right. He does that effortlessly as he's walking toward you.
And somehow, it works very well, like in MMA, because people don't expect it so much. Like, it's a little, even though it's like a basic schoolyard move, it's something that's not expected often.
I got Zabit first round KO.
I got Zabit.
I know Jeremy Stevens is tough.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Gotta give some respect, but like at the same time, I'm sorry, but Zabit's the future, and that's just the way that it is. I got Zabit. I want to say second round. It's probably more likely the second round. But I think Magomed Sharapov just comes and might surprise somebody. Yeah. I mean, we saw Jeremy Stevens wilt from a body shot last time. A spinning back kick to the body made him just wince, and he was done. So the same thing could happen here.
Okay, I'm with you, but
TKO first round.
I would say second round.
Okay. Last one we're gonna look at here in terms of the stacked card.
Yeah.
We got Diego Sanchez, which is versus Mickey Gall here. I think it's just an interesting, quick one we can go over.
Yeah, just gotta give the OG his credit, Diego Sanchez. I mean, this guy. First of all, what a character, right? And second of all, what a fucking warrior. How does he not have CTE, and how is he even like able to talk? I don't know. But I love the guy just for his character, for his craziness, weirdness, and just for his perseverance in the sport. And it's an interesting fight. I think Mickey Gall actually possibly has more skills at this point.
I've got Mickey Gall via submission. In the last round.
Okay. I would say Mickey Gall by TKO, probably gonna ground and pound him, in my opinion.
First TKO? Okay, I can
maybe second round, because I don't see Diego sticking in there the whole full fight.
Yeah, I think, for me, I'm saying third round because Diego will get tired by then. Mickey Gall can try to slap. Like, if he does strike him, I feel like say for example he strikes Diego and Diego falls to the ground, Mickey Gall is gonna try to submit to end it.
Sure.
I don't think Mickey Gall is the type of dude to try to like bang it out and ground and
That's
pound.
A fair point.
Like, I mean, just because I see his takedown accuracy is high, Diego's takedown defense isn't very high, and his submission average, again, this guy he has 5 wins, he's 5-1, and all of them are by submission.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So we'll see how it all goes down, but that's just an interesting, again, that's like a prelim special.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that fight too. Always Diego Sanchez.
Literally, we just talked about 6 legitimate fights.
Oh, that's a beautiful
on a
card.
Stacked card.
Beautiful card. I hope none of them knock on wood. I'm knocking on wood, people. So none of those fights fall out, or fall through. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that card.
And then John Jones will face the winner of this one on Saturday between these light heavyweights, Jan Blachowicz and Thiago Santos. And Thiago Santos just came off the heels doing a crazy tornado kick.
Hey.
I went to watch in person. That was insane.
Yeah, you were there. That's right. Yo, after seeing that fight, I cannot, if anything, I would like be sinning if I bet against Thiago Santos. The guy looked like he was out of this planet. Like, just what was the most surprising thing for me was not the explosiveness, which was out of this world, but his ability to sustain this explosiveness after like an extended period of time, like more than I expected one would be able to sustain it at. And he kept coming. He kept throwing crazy stuff. I was like, okay. So, I got Thiago Santos as the next one.
All right. Well, there you go. That should pretty much wrap up everything, all things UFC for the last couple of weeks. Thanks for tuning into Gin and Juice. We'll be coming at you guys with the results coming off of the heels probably of 235 coming up. And we'll talk about it then. We'll catch you guys on the flip side. And I don't know, stay educated, y'all. There's going to be some sick fights coming up this weekend.
All right. Stay tuned. Peace.
Peace.